Hey, crinkly shirt here. No, Jack here. No, Daddy Homeschools. I can't remember what's on my birth certificate. Definitely sure it's not crinkly shirt. It could be Daddy Homeschools. Solo-Homeschooling with Heart. Welcome to the team. It's 8 o'clock. Kids are waking up to a French story that is on the Ambleside list, which is a list of living books that are released on LibriVox, so they're free. Anyway, they're listening to a French story. Yesterday, these guys, the tree surgeons, came over. Can you see those bald trees over there? They took down these massive trees. And I said, "What are you going to do with that wood?" And they said, "Take it to the lumberyard. Do you want it?" And I said, "Yeah, because lumberjack. My name's Jack. Illuminati, confirmed." So they've left a load of wood for us. We do a bonfire every Sunday. So I had 3 simple things on my to-do list this morning before the kids got up. It was 2 emails, 1 letter, 1 physical letter, deal with 2 emails, deal with 1 physical letter, and reply to all my Instagram comments and stuff like that, and give 2 meaningful comments. Those are my 3 daily to-do list things. 2 meaningful comments, meaning like bless 2 people on Instagram, and with actually thought through, helpful, encouraging comment, and that helps me maintain a presence on Instagram, as well as just encourage people and help growth if I'm working on those hashtags. So there's a little insight for you. This morning, as I said, we're going on a nature walk. I go on a nature walk with a friend, a homeschooling family, and it's allowed in COVID because it's an educational activity. But another homeschooling family from Barn School, she broke her foot recently, and so I'm going to take her kids out for a walk, and we'll see how the little ones fare, because I'll be caring for, between the 2 adults, we'll be caring for like 9 kids, I think. The kids listen to French every morning, which is what you're hearing right now in the background. Today it's La Belle et la Bête, I think, Beauty and the Beast, which is originally quite an old French story. And the way I choose these, we usually just do a podcast, a learning French podcast, which is okay, but why not use living books? It may take longer, but I think we should use a variety, because when I'm teaching my kids English, learning to read English, I make sure I'm not teaching using trash material. It's not just a phonics book. I'm actually using at least mostly living books, even for my youngest. And so, for example, with my 3-year-old, I'll sit down with a really good, passionately written, clear book about nature or whatever it is, and I'll ask him, we do help Daddy read, so we'll ask him to read 1 out of the book, and out of the sentence, 1 word, simple word out of the sentence. My 5-year-old at the moment is reading all of the word the, all of those, and all of the then, and all of the there, and all of those for maybe like half an hour, just so the and the then is becoming his good friend, like a smiling face every time he sees it, because he was getting a little frustrated at having to dissect all of the words. My daughter had to scientifically dissect each word where there's the, and then n, and then a, and then a. That's not a word. Whereas my 5-year-old was getting really frustrated with that, so we're trying to help the words become a smiling face. But the reason I was talking about that is because my point is I use living books for teaching English, and yet I noticed I'm using just random bits and bobs on the internet when teaching French, and I think that's a mistake. So I'm going to start just playing that sort of thing. Actual stories, actual good living stories. And they don't understand all of it. I don't understand most of it, but that's okay. Babies don't understand most of the language that we talk to them, but we talk to them anyway. We say, "You're right. Hi, how are you, little guy?" They don't understand, but it's the speaking that creates the listening. They can understand once we start. We don't wait for the understanding, we speak, and that creates understanding. So there you go. That doesn't mean that I'll get rid of all of the phonics type stuff, all of the dissecting the French grammar and stuff like that, but it just won't be our priority. Kids, how's it going? Do you think it's time to get up? What do you think? Time to get up? We're going to bless our friends today. We're going to learn about the world, learn how to bless people better for the glory of God. You're my... Exactly. Did they break? Yeah, so do you think that's a good idea to stand on there?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay, so what should we be doing right now? What's it time to be doing? Putting our jumper on backwards? Oh, I'm just joking, that's my jumper that's backwards. What's it time to be doing now? As soon as we get up.
First we have to do gardening.
Gardening is a good thing to bless people with, but first it's teeth, and then we can go down for breakfast. How about that? The point is you get an hour to eat your breakfast, and then at 9 o'clock, after the hour, it's no more eating. Sorry, when it beeps, we all move on. So that's our breakfast rules. And so if they're in bed right now, and they know that if they spend too long in bed, it won't be breakfast time anymore. Which means they can eat eggs, but they don't really want eggs for breakfast. So it's not like I'm forcing them to starve, but they won't get their favorite breakfast. Last night, or yesterday, was my 5-year-old's birthday. This is the birthday decorations all around this room. I asked my 7-year-old to come down in the middle of the, well, when my 5-year-old was in bed, and decorate the place. We put it all around the house. We made a treasure hunt for him, and we hid all the sweets around the house and made like a story of this is the birthday badger speaking. I'm here to direct you into all the different places, and little funny things like that. And we left little notes to direct him into all the different parts where the sweets are. And on these, I don't know if you can see this, but we used whiteboard pen to write on the windows a bunch of encouragements for him. So, you know, you bless my life with and win many battles. That's one of them. And then I organized for all of his friends to come over in a convoy of like a stream of different friends. I saw this on an American YouTube channel, I think, once, where because you can't have a birthday party, it's because of the virus, so all of his friends are just turning up. I gave everyone...
Sorry, Daddy.
Oh! Everyone had a 10-minute slot, say between 6 and 6:10, to drive up. Or anything, just say something you like about Nahum, bless him, give him an encouragement, and drive on, and then the next friends come. You know, a lot of kids will get overwhelmed by having too many of their friends in a birthday party. This may be, it was a necessity for us for the virus, but it may be useful for some birthday kids to have their friends come at different parts during the day. So maybe they have 2 families in the morning from maybe their homeschool friends, and then they have lunch maybe on their own, they calm down, decompress a bit, and then they have 2 friends from church come in the afternoon. Okay, good job. So I got him, my 5-year-old, for his birthday, this electromagnetism pack, and what I'm not enjoying about it is the instructions are too overbearing and boring, which is my problem with a lot of these types of packs. Like, there's this package of information that you're supposed to, like canned experiences, I'm really not a big fan of. But the book that we're reading, The Sciences by Holden, is an excellent living book on science. And the idea, he says, is, well, firstly, he says in the introduction, to make you better citizens, because this is your world, and so who better to understand the world than you? A book said, I will give you some of the principles here and I'll talk about it, but then that's a cue for you to go and experience it yourself. So this is my, the first thing was about electromagnetism, so this is my kind of way of saying, let's go and experience it ourselves. And we're using, I saw a little formula for great nature journals, which we are now using, which is, I noticed that, So I noticed that the acorn is brown on the edges. That reminds me of leaves that turn brown in the autumn, and I wonder why they turn brown. So I noticed that. That reminds me of I wonder why. Write that down, because it's really useful, not just for nature journaling, but I used it in an electromagnetism pack as well. We all put it on the table, and I said, let's do a nature journal thing, because this is nature. I mean, there's a bunch of plastic, which is I hate, but electricity is nature, so why not nature journal? We didn't write it down, but we did the 3 things. It couldn't be more gorgeous this morning. So look over here. Now that is enough wood. This sofa from Free Cycle didn't fit in the house, so we put it by where we put our, oh, it's just wood chips. We put it by where we do our bonfires, so they put their sleeping bag on top of there, and we'll cover it with a tarpaulin, so hopefully not too much mold will grow on there. We might have to just dump it. But this is where I work out, in this tiny garage. Now my 7-foot pole doesn't fit in. I'll start again. The workout Olympic barbell doesn't fit in the shed very well. So I figured out just the way to do it where it doesn't hit any of the walls. I'm gonna plug you in so you have enough battery for the nature walk, and I'll see you then. But now they're gonna be sitting there thinking, oh, I thought they were gonna be here, and I don't know where they are. And then they'll be worrying. I didn't want to do that to them. I wanted to bless them. It's now your choice what you're going to do. Are you going to be an arrow right now? You are my arrow. That was... We're going to be 20 minutes late. We do French, but first we do the audiobook of the Bible. We're going through Leviticus right now, which is not as boring as it sounds. Leviticus has a bunch of rules and laws about the temple and cleanliness and stuff like that, but it's actually quite gory and dramatic. And
I think it's cool.
I think it's cool too. And then we do a prayer. It's called Pray the Word Podcast by David Platt, and that's what we do after our Bible reading. And then sometimes we do either songs or we do, what is it, French. And at the moment we're doing Pimsleur's French course. You are a fantastic little boy that I love very much. Your challenge is yesterday when someone said to you that they gave you chocolates and you said, just chocolates? To you it was a joke, to them it sounded like, oh, I didn't give a good enough present.
Treats the father with contempt. The daughter rises up against her mother. The daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies are the men of his own house. But as for me, I will look to the Lord.
But why is it...
And it's not true.
Why is it all sticky?
No idea.
On the shooting bud. And the buds are coming in winter. Still left at Morpeth. Oh, listen to this. Do you think we should go where we all want to go?
No.
Oh, you think we should go where just some of us want to go? Just building a spaceship out of tree branches amidst an infinity of wines and... Yeah? I can't find her, so she called out, Yannicka! Heard nothing. Yannicka! Nothing. So Yannicka, and so Charlie was waiting there for ages and ages and ages, and she didn't know what to do. So finally, after waiting where Yannicka was, she finally took her foot out of the bog and just squelched it down, and she thought, there's nothing for it, I'll have to just go for it. We were just out from about 9:30 to 2 o'clock now. So we're back, we had a few snacks, but we're pretty hungry. And we're gonna have some fruit. Your job on a Monday is clear, so could you please clear the table. If you can get an electric battery and a bell and a wire and a push button, then the picture in this book will tell him exactly how to join them together. And yes, well we have a bell, don't we?
Yeah, but we didn't use it.
The children were looking at the map of the world one fine afternoon. So I'm going in between cooking my dinner and reading aloud, and when I'm jumping over to the beef, I'm putting on a podcast called The Bible Project, which I highly recommend. We've had lunch, we've had leftover chocolate, we've had read alouds, we've had science. We haven't done a to-do list, but that's okay. They can go to Mimi's house so I can do a bit of work, but the same problem again this morning, which is the 3-year-old won't get his trousers on, the 3-year-old won't get his coat, the 3-year-old hasn't got his socks on. 3-year-old. Excuse me, 3-year-old. Have you got socks on? What do you think about that? I met my friend Will when we were 6 or 7. We were both homeschoolers going to similar groups, homeschool groups. He owns and runs a bakery, and I now do some accountancy work for him. That's what I'm doing right now. But we've spoken about this book before, The E-Myth, and something just occurred to me that can also be applied to families, which is when you are hand making every croissant, then your customers will reliably know that your croissants are the best because you hand make it and you can guarantee it. When they're employees, you need to think about how you can create systems, rules, procedures, habits that can transfer the excellence that you are passionate about onto employees who may or may not be as competent or passionate about it. In the home, you're trying to ensure excellence as well. You're trying to create the product of moral excellence and diligence and intellectual virtue. And well, this is why the entrepreneur is so necessary, because you need to create new habits. You need to be laying down new rails all the time. But every time you do, something's taken off your hands. You don't need to do it anymore because the rails are down. You don't need to supervise. You don't need to helicopter parent anymore because the rails are there. So my daughter's to-do list is a very simple example of me trying to ensure excellence by creating habits. She now knows how to do all those things on her to-do list. She knows that she sets the timer to 10 minutes. She works for 10 minutes on her maths. And even if she doesn't feel like it, she does it. The habits are there. She uses the abacus. Attitudes in general are a little bit harder to lay down the rails for. So the attitude for when your brother hits you, or the attitude that's to do with chores, or that's a little more abstract. And so the way to make that a little less abstract, where I've created these sort of liturgies in our life to bring out and that they know back to front, so that they can have deeply ingrained in them these sayings or this catechism or this liturgy, so that it sort of becomes their standardized procedures for when something goes wrong, or when they cut me, that's what I bleed, because these words are just running so deeply within me. So that's why we memorize the Bible, but it's also why we have these, they all know these set phrases, like I'll say, to serve the world for the glory of God. That's why we study. Or you are my arrow, I am the warrior for the kingdom of God. That's why we do chores or bless other people or whatever it is going out into the world. Or I noticed that the sky is blue. That reminds me of my blue sweeties. I wonder why it has the same color as my sweeties. The 3 things of nature journaling, that's their structure, that's their standardized procedure. All these habits are designed to produce excellence. 78,440,546. Oh, that was a seriously good number. Well done. Alright, good night, guys.
Daddy, can I read my book?
Mwah. Tomorrow. Dingens.
What?
I signed up to, someone from church has just had a baby and it was a very difficult time. And I signed up to give them a meal. So we're going to cook a meal, and you can do a meal from the Delia Smith book, but you need to give me the ingredients tomorrow because I'm going to order tomorrow to get the ingredients for Thursday so you can cook it on Friday and give it to them on Saturday. Okay? Good night. Sweet dreams. Scratch that. I was talking to a friend yesterday and she was saying how hard the conversation was that she recently had with her husband about education, and there are disagreements and they think that each other are kind of messing it up and some nasty words were said. And I just want to encourage you, if you are having a difficult moment with your spouse, it feels like things are maybe even unsalvageable sometimes, and that the enemy is at the gates of your marriage looking to devour it. He has your walls in mind. God has your walls in mind, and they are ever before him, and he will not forsake this little city of yours because he is yours. And though your husband will fail, and you will both fail even unto death, you'll die, your bodies will fail, you'll separate from each other. Even if you are faithful to the end, your bodies will be separate at some point. But you have a husband who is risen, and that risen husband is the only hope for your foolish earthly one. So give him a kiss.